6B, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Rick Delgado sitting shotgun with me. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Busy Tuesday night. Slick will be here to do some sports. Man, what a day. I mean, I just feel like tonight is a night that I almost wish we had 3 hours tonight. And a lot of this, those of you who have been around a TV or a computer today have probably heard a lot of, and so I'll apologize if we're going to rehash. But, for some of you who maybe had to work all day and were out there trying to feed your family and get by in Biden's America, which is tougher and tougher to do nowadays every single day, you may not be so up on exactly what has happened today, and really in an extraordinary day. A day that you almost sometimes... and of course, you find yourself doing this more and more the last three and a half years, shaking your head and wondering, what country is this? What the hell's going? What in the blue hell? You know how we have a soundbite? What the hell's he talking about?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on in this country? I mean, it's just insane what's going on.
Yeah.
So let's start with some of the not assassination attempts on a former president stuff. We'll get to that. Let's start with the easy stuff.
All right.
And that is that. Well, first of all, how are you? How was your day?
I'm good. It was the bombshell of the day, the assassination attempt, making it look like it was just trying to serve a warrant. A story that got my attention. I don't know about you.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But other than that, I had a good day.
I mean, Julie Kelly obviously has done really just fantastic reporting all the way through on obviously January 6th stuff that's been important to her, but obviously on what's going on with the Trump cases, specifically down in Florida, with the only judge who's a real judge and not a partisan hack like all the other ones, including this one in New York, who I think we're getting to the point, not to jump around here like a drunken whatever, but I think the judge in New York, we're getting to the point where I think he knows that he's just going to get overturned at some point, if they can somehow get 12 jurors to still somehow not see what they saw and find a guilty here. But the judge is so off the deep end in this case, with the case now resting and its charging of the jury. It just seems like he's really at the point where he's like, well, I mean, I'm already all in, so I might as well just go.
Might as well just go for it.
I might as well just go completely all in. I'll accept all the prosecution stuff. I'll deny all the defense stuff. And if I get overturned, I get overturned. And, that's kind of where we're at.
What have I told you? The idea, they don't care about the outcome. They want the conviction. They don't care about what happens after. They don't care if he goes to jail. Well, maybe they do care if he goes to jail. They'd like to see him in jail because that would be a nice picture for them. But they really care about the headline. That's all they're focusing on. They want to be able to say, after this, if they can get the guilty verdict, convicted criminal Donald Trump, if they can get that convicted in front of his name, oh my goodness, it's going to lead on every time they mention him, every time they talk about him. Convicted criminal Donald Trump still leads in the GOP. Joe Biden is somehow holding on to his pants, and it'll be a tight race. That's all. They just want that head, so they can put it in the headline and just beat it to death. I'm convinced of that.
I'm not so sure that.
Are you on board?
I'm not so sure that strategy even would work at this point.
No.
With most of the American people who have any common sense about what is going on. Especially after the news again of today. Now, and I understand there's a group of voters out there who will not care or listen to this, but more and more people who voted for Biden in 2020, I think do care about a lot of this stuff and are starting to at least get some wind of it going, because it's just so over the top what's going on.
Yeah.
But before we get to all of that, so let's start with some of the other stuff that I've noticed today. So Biden is at this point making the please vote for me election pitch to every demographic he can in some way, shape, or form. If it's the black community, he's going to go to he's going to go get an honorary degree, which is in itself just somewhat laughable, and give a pandering, disgusting speech about race relations in the country from 60 years ago and make it sound like current day, pander to such a cringeworthy degree that it's almost unlistenable. And most people in that audience with any common sense know that anything, including Bill Maher, who I heard on Greg Gutfeld last night say, I just don't think it's helpful to anybody. That's not the country we live in. You don't have to be 10 times better at anything to make it as a black man in this country.
Right.
And in some degrees, it's an advantage, he said, which he's also correct about. And sometimes it's not an advantage. But you certainly don't have to be 10 times better. And you certainly don't love a country that doesn't love you back. That's nonsense. But so he's making that pitch to the black community, trying to draw us back to the summer of love, 2020, with George Floyd and all white supremacy. That's the big danger we all face. And then, of course, he's not banning menthol cigarettes because someone told him that, African American men like to smoke them. So
right.
He's putting that on hold, I heard today, too. So that's what he's doing there. Now, for the rest of us, he has announced today that he's going to continue to drain the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to the tune of, I think, 1 million barrels. So over your next two fill-ups, the 8 cents that you're going to save, 16 cents in total, probably, in two fill-ups of your car over the next couple, weeks. Biden thinks that this is a great thing. He's going to try to artificially, again, lower gas prices that he himself has driven up from day one that he came into office by raiding the Strategic Petroleum Reserve once again. And he thinks that this is going to resonate with people.
Right.
He thinks that, again, saving 16 cents the next two times you fill up your gas tank, combined 16 cents, maybe 8 and 8. So you can get the extra large coffee at Speedway instead of the medium, maybe. Right.
Or you know what I love? Because I heard somebody, one of the commentators, I forget where, talking about this today. He's really reaching out to the black community. They really cheered when he mentioned about the $8 late fees for credit cards. I'm like, what? Who believes that crap? That people care about college kids who are getting ready to take that next step and get into the workforce and continue their lives. That they care about an $8 late fee on a credit card. That moves the needle for the Democrats. It's just they are grasping at anything and everything to pander, to be like, look where I'm going to save you money. You're costing us money. The fact of the matter is, he's the problem, and he thinks he can. And that's what Democrats have been all the time. Most of the politicians is, what do? They create a problem. They walk around telling you about the problem, and then they tell you how they're going to solve the problem that they created. But they don't tell you, oh, by the way, yeah, I was part of the problem to begin with. And that's all it is. Joe Biden has been the problem for 50 plus years. And I don't understand how more people just don't see it. They don't look at this guy and go, he does this, and says, oh, okay, that's what I'm for. Oh, that's what I'm against. I used to be for marriage. Now I'm against marriage. Now I'm for gay marriage. Now I'm against gay marriage. Now I'm for abortion. I used to be against abortion. I used to hate black kids in my schools. Now you can have black kids everywhere. This guy is the worst. He is if you want to look up scumbag politician, you'd flip open and you'd be like, it's just pages and pages of Joe Biden throughout his life. But that could just be me. I don't know.
No, that's no truer words have ever been said. That's exactly right. That's exactly what he is. He's just doing what he's told to do, to pander to every single class of voters that they are trying to save. So raid the petroleum reserve, go to Morehouse, do this. Now we got to make sure everybody knows that we're going to try to backstab Israel so we get the Dearbornistan votes out of Michigan and whatever we got to do. So he's on full vote for me election pitch to every demographic he can find. And, of course, in the end, it's all at the expense of all of us when it's all said and done. Because gas, if he can even, I heard the number 1 million barrels. What's that going to last? Like an hour? What is that? Long. What is that going to do? Literally, what is that going to do? But there's a bigger issue, I think, with this. And I was reading this article today over at Zero Hedge. And it's entitled the same thing. Biden drains entire Northeast gasoline reserve in a bid to lower gas prices as he trails Trump by double digits. But what they said in there, and I don't know if I even realized this, but this is part of that mammoth 1,000-page bill when we had thanks to Mike Johnson, to avoid the government shutdown when the Republicans caved, as they always do. $1.7 trillion in discretionary spending. They say what we discovered in there was something that was truly shocking. After Biden single-handedly drained half the U.S. strategic petroleum reserve to avoid obliteration for the Democrats back in the 2022 midterms, Congress has snuck in a provision that would sell off and shutter the entire Northeast gasoline supply reserve, a move that, while perhaps keeps gas prices low for a day or two, would also leave the entire continental Northeast defenseless to any true environmental catastrophe or shock. We were so dismayed by the inclusion of this particular text, we wondered if it hadn't been put out there solely for the benefit of America's enemies. They said the entire U.S. 1 million barrel Northeast gasoline supply reserve will be required to be sold and closed in fiscal year 2024, according to the bill text of the government funding legislation. Did China write this bill? So 2 months after the bill was signed, here we are now to current day. And the panicking administration announced that it's going to sell nearly 1 million barrels of gasoline in the U.S. managed stockpile in the northeastern states, the Department of Energy said, effectively closing this reserve, exactly what was written in the bill. The department created the Northeast gasoline supply reserve in 2014 after Superstorm Sandy left motorists scrambling for fuel. But according to some mega brains hoping to justify the dumping of gas so its price drops for a few weeks ahead of the summer and avoid even more anger aimed at President Biden, storing refined fuel is costlier than storing crude oil. So closing the reserve was included in U.S. funding legislation signed by President Joe Biden in March. Bids to buy gasoline located at the two storage sites in Port Reading, New Jersey, and South Portland, Maine, are due on May 28th, and the Treasury Department's general funds get proceeds from the sale. Incidentally, the proceeds from the reserve liquidation, which will amount to roughly $125 million gross and far less net, is roughly how much the government spends every 15 minutes. So you have to ask yourself, is it better to have a gasoline reserve for unexpected events or to fund 15 minutes of government spending? That's essentially what Biden's doing here. All right, we're back right after this. All right, we're live on socials. Facebook, YouTube, Kick, X, Rumble. Welcome on in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up, hit the hearts, comment. Any interaction we always appreciate. It helps get the show, the stream out there. Make sure you share it if you are willing to do so. We appreciate it. I don't have a chat in front of me yet. Let me get it up here.
Yeah, me either. I got to jump in. I'm just like, hey, it's Slickness.
Slickster.
What's up?
It's a good looking.
Come on.
It's a good looking jacket right there.
Dance to match. Right to Most people wear a nice jacket.
Hello, Lorraine on Facebook says hello to you, Rick D, as well.
Hey, Lorraine.
Lorraine.
Charles Parker says you guys are rocking. Slick has entered. Yes. Hi, Amy. Hi from East Islip. I was just in East Islip today.
We could open the door and throw something there.
East Islip. That's a
I was at East Islip High School today.
East Islip Warriors.
What's on the T-shirt, Big D? The T-shirt is...
The Warriors.
What am I doing here? What side is what?
Hello. I gotta put my, come on, Aaron. I gotta put my headphones in right there. I gotta get my drink on.
Greetings from Florida. Slick looking slick. Yes, he is, Captain.
Oh, they got me already.
Guy's named Captain. That's one of my favorite
That's
Kenny
a great
Chesney
name.
songs.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron.
Slick looks like he's hosting Wheel of Fortune tonight.
I am. Wheel of Fortune.
Very good.
Oh, Rick, it was Martin from Michigan who bought the weed torch.
Oh, cool.
He sent another email.
Jeremy on Facebook. My day's going good. How's yours? Hope it's good. Hope everybody's having a good day.
Which
Sandy says, love you guys on
social was he
Facebook.
on, do you
Thank
know?
you, Sandy.
He sent an email.
Ruby, shout out to Damon and Rick D. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nan says, Damien and Rick, what are your thoughts on the two lawyers being the Manhattan jury? I don't know what that means.
two lawyers being in the they're part of the jury. Like two lawyers.
There's two lawyers on the jury?
Yeah. You know
Well,
what?
that should be two easy not guilties, and they
It
should be
should be.
laughing at what they're seeing if they've really been in a courtroom.
Right. But they could be activists, so who knows?
Well, of course.
Got to say hey to Martin from Michigan. He's the one who bought the weed torch, and he's lighting it up.
Okay. I live from Studio 6B, 17 past the hour on a... What's tonight? It's Tuesday night, May 21st.
Tuesday.
20 minutes past 8 o'clock. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. We always appreciate you spending a couple hours with us, wrapping up your day each and every night. Right here, we'll be covering President Trump's speech, if it goes that long. Of course, I think it's, what's he supposed to start at 6 on Thursday in the Bronx?
Around 6, yeah.
Around 6. So I don't know if it's going to end up going into us. Probably not if he's close to on time. But that'll be during Just the News, No Noise and Grant Stinchfield's show, the 2 hours before us. We'll be covering President Trump's speech on Thursday right here on Real America's Voice. Make sure you stay tuned. There it is. And, of course, David Zier was once again in the city covering the trial today. And we've got some things on that. But I just want to stick with this before we do some sports and news. On this gasoline, in this administration scrambling at every turn to try to figure out how to pander to every demographic that they're continuing to lose ground with. And they're losing ground with a lot of them. And the numbers say so. And the talking heads on the left say so. If they have even an inkling of honesty in them, which some of them do and are starting to talk. The one that sticks out to me, because I've seen a lot of them lately, is Bill Maher, who is definitely sounding the alarm in his own way. And I played that clip for you yesterday of him saying, is it too late to switch him out? He's on Team Chemtrails as well, obviously.
See?
Yes. So,
See?
But I just want to finish this whole gasoline thing. Because obviously the whole point of doing this is to try to lower gas prices so people feel better about at least that part of their life spending $4 a gallon. And they're only able to put, half of a tank of gas in their car. Because at this point, it's not about filling it up. It's about how much do I want to spend. Because I normally would spend $60 to fill up. Now I have to spend $90, so I still want to just spend $50, and whatever I get. That's how people go into a gas station now and think about it. They don't go in there and just say, well, fill it up, and I'll just, I got to just live with it. No, I'm going to spend the same that I always spent, and I'm just going to get less. Like everything.
Yeah.
Your dollars you're getting less for. And, of course, the government keeps turning up the heat on the dollar. So you're getting less and less for your dollar. And you're getting less and less at the gas station. You're spending more at the grocery store. So this is, again, living in Biden's America is getting harder and harder. But again, selling gasoline, the whole point of this is to depress prices at the pump, even if it's for only a few days, to help Americans forget about the great inflationary nightmare that they have been in for the past 3 years. The volumes of this Northeast supply that's being basically raided here will be allocated in quantities of 100,000 barrels, with each barrel containing 42 gallons. The Department of Energy said, and said it would require that fuel is transferred or delivered, listen, no later than June 30th. That will ensure gasoline can flow into the local retailers ahead of the 4th of July holiday, and that it'll be sold at competitive prices. Translation, Biden just drained the Northeast Strategic Gasoline Reserve to push gas lower by a few cents for July 4th. And that exactly is what's going on here.
It's insane. Totally insane. And and do Democrats actually think this is going to work? Because people are going to, when you're paying $3.60 and it goes to $3.52, you don't go, wow, holy moly, I'm living big now. They don't. They just go, all right, now it's $3.52. I wonder when it's going to go back up.
Hope it doesn't go to 4.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
That's how I think about it when I go to the gas station. I'm assuming I'm fairly normal. You know, you might have different opinions of that, Damon. But, you know, when I roll into the gas station, you're leaving them on the screen too long there, Aaron.
Let's cut let's cut this clip, Aaron, for social media.
But I'm just saying, like you, everybody thinks the same way. Like you said, you're not going in there thinking, oh well, poof, I'm high on the hog now. Look at me, I'm Mr. Moneybags. You know what, fella? You fill up that tank and throw a $5 spot for you in there as well, and give me a little Windex on the old windshield. No. People do it themselves, and they're very tight with their money because they know it has to go further.
I mean, most people, can you imagine having to go to the grocery store and fill up to get to the grocery store? And that's how people look at their life right now.
Definitely.
You go fill up your gas tank and then go to the grocery store and you come home and go, I just spent $500.
Yeah. It's true.
Between gas and food on a Saturday morning. I can't tell you. I mean, I'll say just like what Rick just said. I feel like we live a pretty. I can't tell you how many Sunday mornings I open up the bank account on our mobile app and I look at Trader Joe's, Stop and Shop, Costco, and think to myself, how many kids do we have? Is there some that I don't know about? Because these numbers I'm seeing are. It's ridiculous.
Dude, and you know what? And I know I'm dating myself, but I remember having to go shopping with my mom and my sisters, and we go to the supermarket, and the cart would be packed, just packed, and it wasn't maybe a quarter of what you need to spend today just for a little hand basket. It's just insane the difference of what And I'm not saying, we should go back to, dollar hamburgers, though that would be nice. But, it's the way it's excelled in the last 3 years because we're not keeping up with income, and your expenses go like this, but your income is still down here. It's mind-numbing because then you have to look at other things. Hey, were we going to take that vacation? Nope, can't do that. What are we going to do with going to this wedding? Let's just send, just a small gift and not go because then you don't want to give a bigger gift. It affects everything, every single thing in your life. And people don't realize it. And it all starts with energy because, again, all those products get to the store. How? They have to be brought there using some sort of energy. And usually it means gas and oil. So.
Yeah. All right. We'll get into some more stuff, but let's do a little news, and then we'll do some sports when we get back. Let's start with a little news. We have a little time here with Rick Delgado. What's going on?
All right. Instead of jumping into the big story, I'll jump into this story real quick because I've got a picture that I want to share. This story is a continuational story, Damon, from Congress of last week. Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking out as Jasmine Crockett files for a trademark for the insult that she called her. I don't know if you heard, bleach, blonde, bad-built butch body is now going to be a T-shirt, like in T-shirt number 1. Picture number 1. Boy, that looks like your T-shirt, Dave. Marjorie Taylor Greene has spoken out after Jasmine Crockett is said to have filed a trademark application for that bleach blonde, bad body, butch body T-shirt.
Oh my God.
Half hour into the Oversight Committee proceedings last Thursday, a Republican lawmaker lined up the Democrat in her crosshairs, insulting her for fake eyelashes while the House devolved into chaos. We played it, with Miss Greene also taking aim at AOC's intelligence, of which there is none.
Zero.
The Congresswoman's insults were ruled not to have flouted the rules. Scratching her head in the decision, Miss Crockett asked whether making the remark about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body was also allowed, a clear jab at Miss Greene. Now she's looking to capitalize on that little feud, Miss Crockett, with her campaign purportedly filing a trademark for the scathing remark. According to documents viewed by Fox News, a Texas representative plans to create a suite of items, including hats, hoodies, socks, and T-shirts branded with the phrase, "as per the documents." So there you have it. A little capitalism coming from the left. How about that? I told
All right,
you.
we're back right after this with sports. Let me hear this, Fran.
We're all concerned about the innocent civilians that have been collectively punished and murdered, largely children and women. And are you at all concerned about the fact that the International Criminal Court just today issued a subpoena for Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, that's ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So how can we get out with a ceasefire?
All right. So Hamas needs to be destroyed because they are a terrorist organization who say openly that they want to commit genocide on the Jewish people, on the state of Israel. That's what from the river to the sea means. Okay? And they say it very openly. They said, we did this attack. They've attacked Israel 5 times. They've started 5 wars since they were given that land back. They could have chosen to turn that place into any place they wanted to, and they took a lot of money that they took from the international community and they spent it on bombs and guns and building tunnels. So if they need to be destroyed, how do we do that? It's a war. I don't know how to do that, and you don't know how to do that. I assume the Israeli...
Not so sunny, host. I'm getting schooled.
Oh, big time. Hey, look, slick. Electric cars for seniors.
Yeah. Good. You see me in that kind of car?
I can see you.
You cannot.
In a purple
and it
one?
don't matter what the color.
Look at that. Like that? That would be badass.
Nah, come on. I'll walk. Save energy.
Did you see Ted Cruz with Tony Blinken today?
No.
It's long. I don't know if I want to show the whole thing, but it's honestly so good. It is such a brutal takedown. It's just glorious.
And he did it to us.
Glorious.
All right, what's going on in the chat? I gotta get me a chat there.
You sound like one of those constipated cowboys.
I know I am constipated. I had some dinner.
I'm looking at the hemorrhoids right now.
Coming back on me. No, it's not.
All right, live from 6B. 30 minutes past the hour. Hour 1, Real America's Voice on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. If you're watching on any of the socials, make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever you can do to interact with the stream. We appreciate it. And make sure you follow us on all our socials at LFS6B, especially wherever you're watching. Kick, Facebook, YouTube, X, Rumble. Make sure you like and subscribe. Delgado's going to do some news. Slick's going to do some sports. Let's do that now. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B as your promo code at checkout. It'll save you a great savings, sometimes 10, sometimes upwards of 60% off whatever you're buying. Most stuff is in that 40, 50, 60% off with our code. Most of it's like 50% off, I think. Just great savings on great stuff from Lindell. And if you do, send us your receipt to lfs6b@yahoo.com. We'll send you out our shirt of the month absolutely free. Anybody who requests this now can get it, Aaron. I don't care. You can send it out. There's enough in stock. If they want this one now, they can send it out. And if they want the Trump one, you can send that one, obviously, as we've been doing as well. So let's do some sports. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, Big D, that time of the year. Let's get to it. NBA playoffs. We got the Eastern Conference Finals, getting ready to see who's going to be in the championship round. We got the Pacers and the Celtics. Celtics jumped out to a 9-0 lead on the Pacers in TD Garden. This was an 8 p.m. tip-off. Right now, the Pacers have cut the lead to 8, 22-14. Celtics leading Indiana 22-14, 5:47 to go in the first quarter. Should be a good series there. I expect 5-6 games out of Indiana, but I think Boston, Big D, they might be the team there in the finals. And what else we got going on? NHL action. That's tomorrow night. Game 1 in the Garden. Rick Delgado's got his tickets ready. No, and he's going to. He can't afford those kind of numbers. The Florida Panthers are coming to New York to take on the Rangers, and that will be the Eastern Conference Final in the NHL. Exciting stuff. 8 p.m. Obviously, we'll be on. We'll be talking about that game tomorrow night. Major League Baseball. Give you a couple of quick scores. Guardians over the Mets 7-6. That is in the bottom of the 8th. Bottom 4. Marlins and Brewers tied at 4 down in Florida. Reds lead the Padres 2-0, bottom of the 7th. Pirates trail the Giants 4-2, bottom 6. Bottom 7, Phils over the Rangers 3-1. Twins bombing the Nationals 10-0, bottom of the 7th in Washington. Red Sox and Rays tied at 2, bottom 7. Bottom 5, Mariners over the Yankees right now 2-0. Yankees are playing good ball, though. They're in first place. White Sox over the Blue Jays 3-0, bottom 6. Bottom of the 2nd, Braves and Cubbies tied at 2. Tigers and Royals. Royals blanking the Tigers 6-0, bottom of the 3rd. Top of the 4th, Cardinals blanking the Royals 1-0. Angels and Astros locked in at 2-2, top of the 2nd. And then the last game of the night, the nightcap, will be the Rockies at the Athletics, and that'll be 9:40 out west in California, in Oakland. Oakland A's, not too much longer. They're going to be the Vegas A's, but they're the Oakland A's for now. Get to a couple of quick stories, a lot going on in sports world. But, Big D, Stephen A. Smith demands police video of Scottie Scheffler arrest. If it were Tiger Woods, you'd have it, right? That's Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart. In the wake of last week's arrest of pro golfer Scottie Scheffler, sports commentator Stephen A. Smith is accusing the police of being steeped in racism for not releasing any body cam footage of the arrest, and added, if it was Tiger Woods, you'd have it. Now, my understanding is there was just no body cam footage taken. I don't think it's anything about racism, but Stephen A. is challenging. He's a big name in ESPN. He's also a big mouth. The world's #1 ranked golfer was arrested on Friday morning outside Valhalla Golf in Louisville, Kentucky, and charged with injuring a police officer with his car when he reportedly refused to obey police directions as he tried to drive into the entrance to the club. Video of the arrest taken by a bystander shows the golfer being loaded into a police cruiser and driven off only a few hours before his tee time. Scheffler was hit with charges including second-degree assault of a police officer, it's a felony, criminal mischief in the third degree, misdemeanor, reckless driving and disregarding signals from officers directing traffic, another misdemeanor. Despite the high security, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg says that Louisville police officers did not have their body cameras recording when Scheffler was arrested, and there is no official video record of the arrest. This news set off Smith, who claims there is no video because police were arresting a white man, but they were arresting a black man. The body cam video would already be everywhere. A mistake like that can happen, Smith grumbled about the lack of police body cam video of Scheffler's arrest. That's not a mistake in our eyes. That's intentional. Nobody believes that you can conveniently forget to turn on your body cam when you're arresting the number one golfer in the world. Nobody believes that. I find
I didn't even know who were arrested.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, but this is Stephen A. You know how he is. I mean, he's a cowboy hater. So
No, but I mean, what evidence does he have that they purposely didn't turn on because it was a white guy?
Well, that's what he's just making a statement, Big D. But even as he tried to claim he was not alleging racism, he went on to say, you give black America cause to pause when the number one golfer in the world who happens to be white gets arrested. He then interjected Tiger Woods in that situation, that there would be video if they were arresting Woods. There would definitely be video. If you're going to consistently have video incriminating black people, consistently have video incriminating white people. See, he's making it in the black and white thing. I just wanted to get the story.
Yeah, but it's not racist.
Oh, come on, Rick. You know how it goes.
He sounds like an idiot. Because let's face it, most people in the country don't know what this guy looks like. It's not like they're like, oh, he's showing up now. Let me turn on my cameras.
He's clearly not Tiger Woods.
Right. He's clearly not.
No.
Everybody in the world knows what Tiger Woods looks like. That's easy. Scott Scheffler, not a clue. I could be standing next to the guy online at the store. I wouldn't have a clue who this guy was.
No.
Not a clue, except maybe if he pulls out a wad of cash, I'll be like, oh, look at this.
But Stephen A's broader point, do the cops roll body cam footage every time they walk up to some car?
Apparently, according to
every
him,
police
they must.
department?
Only if they're black. Yeah.
No, but is that standard protocol for every cop now?
I don't know, but that's not what happened. He didn't roll up to the car. The
guy was stopped. He driving 5 miles an hour and just went in the wrong way.
Right. The cop was directing traffic, so to speak, and cordoning off an area. Not expecting to, Right.
I think the interaction happened fairly spontaneously because the cop's like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Well, for Stephen A.
Hold on. Okay, now what are you doing?
What are you doing? Right.
I need to focus.
Even worse news for Stephen A. It sounds like this case is going to get dropped. We talked about this last night. Looks like they're going to be dismissing this case altogether. It's just a misunderstanding, and that's the way it goes. And I'm sure Stephen A. will say, "Oh, that's preferential treatment."
Well, by the way, I'm not a big fan of that either. Quite honestly, why would they drop it? He clearly did not comply with the police officer's direction. From what I can tell, I wasn't there, but he clearly did not comply, clearly did something he shouldn't have done, clearly didn't try to communicate, or anybody with him didn't communicate to try to avoid doing what he had to do to try to rush to get into the course. So why would they drop it against me, you think?
For you?
If I did that and the officer ended up...
Absolutely not. They would not.
So why would they drop it? Why would they drop the case for Scotty Scheffler?
I think...
Now Stephen A's got something I think to chirp about.
From what I've read, it was an embarrassing situation for the officer, which is why he reacted like he did, because he was running next to the car and he tripped and he fell. He wasn't holding on to the car like initial reports were. It wasn't like he was trying to hold him, this guy's trying to get away kind of thing. And it's as they've gone through, according to what the police are saying now, the officer was a bit embarrassed by falling down and he got pissed and he reacted.
Okay.
He overreacted.
Right. Then he had
that's why they're thinking maybe we're better off just dropping this because this is going to make us look stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure Scheffler
that
has
makes
pretty
a little
good
more
attorneys.
sense.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Anything else, Slick?
No, that's a wrap in sports. Big D watching this game right now. Come on.
More Slick coming up. LFS 6B is the code. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Biden was out and about today.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, can't wait.
He was, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
He was doing his stage.
You sound like him.
Wouldn't be the first time. Well, how many stages of dementia are there? 7, 8? He's in stage 7.
You're in like
seem to remember.
I'm only in stage 1.
1? That's stretching it. Maybe
okay,
3 or 4.
He's in full 8. And but he wanted to remind us at the end of his speech about something very important he did. Cut 3, Aaron. Let's remind everybody. Roll that.
After I signed the PAC Act into law, I handed the pen that I signed
Clear on that.
as the official, the most responsible for the legislation.
Yes.
Huh? Wait a minute.
One more time.
Yeah, I need that again.
Let me hear this act that he signed. Thank God, boy, what would we do without this act? One more time. What
After I
did he
signed the packet lack which is the official, the person most responsible for the legislation.
Was he singing Pink Cadillacs by?
Bruce Springsteen. Bang Cadillac. Whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Let me see the replay. Let me see the replay.
Cadillac.
After I signed the
Yeah, sounded better.
Which is the official, the person most responsible for the legislation.
There you have it.
Where's the baby when you need him? Then I cut into that other clip.
It almost sounds like that scene out of Mars Attacks with the Martians. Ack. Pack-a-lack.
Oh, God. All right, let's do some more news. And here with that's Rick Delgado. What else is going on?
All right. Well, I guess the big story of the day, of course.
Well, let's hold off on that and get into it at 9.
Do you know what story I'm talking about?
Oh, no.
There are two big stories of the day, David.
Okay.
This one being New York versus Trump. The defense rests.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Today, triggering final stages of this historic trial. This coming from Fox News. Prosecutors rested their case in the historic criminal trial of former President Trump, who faces charges for falsifying business records to cover up 2016 payments to ex-porn star Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 election. The defense rested today, which should be triggering the final stages of the trial, but that didn't happen. Of course, what did Judge Marchand do? He said, okay, take a week off. We'll see you next Tuesday. Former President Trump, of course, launched an attack on the Manhattan District Attorney's lead prosecutor in New York versus Trump, despite not calling him out by name as a representative of the Biden administration looking to hurt Trump's 2024 run for the White House. Basically, so what happened is judge considers the defense motion to dismiss after the prosecution rested. That happened earlier today, but then, of course, the defense rested. So now what should happen, and I heard a lot of talking heads talk about this, is that the judge should have immediately moved to the next phase, which is getting the prosecution and defense to get together their closing arguments so they could give this to the jury so they could hash out a verdict. That didn't happen. And a lot of people are noticing certain things that are not going according to where they normally go in a court trial, which is, of course, the big knock against Judge Juan Merchan, who, again, he could have ruled early this morning that the defense motion to dismiss the case against the former president altogether after the prosecution rested, but he did not do so. And now we've got the defense actually resting their case in the trial in New York. So there you have it. Big things going on. Now they have a week. Now, again, we were talking about the jurors yesterday. In that time, good luck trying to avoid any social media, any TV, any print media you see walking around, people talking about it, your family members. Oh, it's a holiday. Let's go over to so-and-so's house. Let's have some fun. Let's start talking. Oh, you're on that case? Boom. It's going to be a disaster. But I think this is what they want.
I think it's reasonable to think that there's probably 8 or 9 jurors that are in lockstep with Bragg, that are all 12. I don't know.
I don't think they.
We're in the feed. We're in the thing. You know, the thing. Let's see. What am I looking at? Oh,
I looked up your Rangers tickets, by the way, after Slick said that.
Yeah, his Ranger tickets, not mine. Don't associate me with that garbage organization.
Yeah. You stay with the Islanders.
I
They're
will.
winners.
Listen, I got a good life with those boys.
The cheapest ticket to get in the building is like $5.86.
It's got to be $5 something, yeah.
The sit where I would want to sit is $2,400.
You wouldn't go to a Ranger game. Stop.
What do you mean? I've been to
You
plenty.
wouldn't do that. You wouldn't go to that.
When we had Knicks and Rangers
different.
seasons in the same year.
Oh, you had Rangers too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The hell are you talking about?
I didn't know if you knew anything about hockey. I didn't. I've known you how many years? I didn't think you knew. Did you
Too
know
many.
hockey stick and a freaking pickleball racket? Come on, big dick. Guy walked in the Ranger jersey one time. I was like, "What are you lost?" The Rangers, forget it. They're going to win the cup.
Big D, you're going to need to get the facts on the Scheffler thing. You're way off base on much of the information you were sharing.
As
Okay,
usual.
well, would you like to tell me what specifically?
Fill us in. This is maybe.
I mean,
this
what
is
is that? What am I supposed to take from that comment?
This guy could be a court attorney for this
I didn't
case.
say I knew. I said I didn't even know what was going on.
Come on. Right, which is most of the time. We all say that. We don't.
The hell do I know?
We
I
don't
don't know
profess to
anything
be
about anything.
geniuses. We just reporting this crap.
I'm just here to make fun of Delgado and talk to Slick about sports.
Come on.
Maybe find a bet here or there.
Mr. V says Damon sounds like a Stevie Nicks concert. I don't know what that means, but I'm laughing.
How about Bolt R? He's accusing Big D. Big D, the revolution, and at First Avenue. Big D doesn't know. Meanwhile, I go, hey, Bolt R, take it easy. He doesn't need to know because I have tickets for both their shows in 1 month from tonight. So
Oh, my
trust me,
goodness.
I'm on it. The revolution, don't even get there with me with that stuff, man. Come on. That's the old Prince days for those that remember. Look at this.
Who are you
Look at this
dressing
game.
up as?
Giovanni says, good evening, guys.
dressing
We're
up
watching
as me,
from
man.
the Groveland in
I'm
the
at
free
that
state
stage
of
of my life.
Florida.
I'm me.
Rav is on at least two TVs in our house all day long.
Really?
We love 6B. We have 5 of your shirts. Wow, thank you.
Wow.
My wife is ordering from My Pillow tonight. We'll be
That's
looking
our
to get the
kind of
new
girl.
There you
Biden shirt.
We need more people like that. Come on. Spend some money on Sonny.
Kathleen.
Really?
What? All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. Just going through some of the comments on X. LFS6B, family of 3, and I'm spending $1,000 a month for groceries in Michigan.
Sounds right. That sounds right. $250 a week. Yep.
That's from Mum's the Word.
Crazy.
I got to shout out Martin from Michigan who bought a weed torch, which is probably what it feels like with that $1,000 a month. You're probably just torching it all because you're not really getting much.
Might as well light it on fire.
Right.
Enjoy that weed torch there, Martin. That's going to be
torture.
fun. Light it up.
Don't do what Delgado does and light yourself on fire.
I didn't light myself on fire because of that.
Is that where you got
That was years
hairstyle?
ago.
Okay.
That was when I had a cool life. I lit my feet on fire, but that's a different story altogether.
That's why he sends his socks into the bathroom now during the breaks.
Right.
There's a piece in the New York Post. Speaking of the trial in New York,
feet
just
to the fire.
very quickly, someone who would certainly know about decorum from not only a judge, but in a courtroom would be one Alan Dershowitz. He has an opinion piece today in the New York Post. Says, I was inside the court when the judge closed the Trump trial, which, by the way, I believe the Constitution, maybe Article 6. So I could be totally wrong about this, but there's some, I think once the trial is, the judge can't shut the trial down from the public. But that's a whole side story. He says it shocked me here. Alan Dershowitz says, I've observed and participated in trials throughout the world. I have seen justice and injustice in China, Russia, Ukraine, England, France, Italy, Israel, as well as nearly 40 of our 50 states. But in my 60 years as a lawyer and a law professor, I have never seen a spectacle such as the one I am observing sitting in the front row of the courthouse yesterday in this trial of Donald Trump. The judge in Donald Trump's trial was an absolute tyrant, though he appeared to the jury to be a benevolent despot. He seemed automatically to be ruling against the defendant at every single turn. Many experienced lawyers raised their eyebrows when the judge excluded obviously relevant evidence when offered by the defense while including irrelevant evidence offered by the prosecution. But when the defense's only substantive witness, the experienced attorney Robert Costello, raised his eyebrows at one of the New York Supreme Court Justice Merchan's rulings, the court went berserk. Losing his cool and showing his thin skin, the judge cleared the courtroom of everyone, including the media. For some reason, I was allowed to stay, and I observed one of the most remarkable wrong-headed biases I have ever seen. The judge actually threatened to strike all of Costello's testimony if he raised his eyebrows again. That, of course, would have been unconstitutional because it would have denied the defendant his Sixth Amendment right to confront witnesses and to raise a defense. It would have punished the defendant for something a witness was accused of doing. Even if what Costello did was wrong, it was not. It would be utterly improper and unlawful to strike his testimony that directly undercut and contradicted the government's star witness. This judge is absolutely outrageous, unethical, unlawful, and petty. Moreover, his effect while issuing that unconstitutional threat revealed his utter contempt for the defense and anyone who testified for the defendant. The public should have been able to see this judge in action. But because this case is not being televised, the public has to rely on the biased reporting of partisan journalists. But the public was even denied the opportunity to hear from journalists who saw the judge in action because he cleared the courtroom. I am one of the few witnesses to actually see his improper conduct, who actually remained behind to observe his deep failings. Even when journalists do report on courtroom proceedings, their accounts must be taken with a grain of salt. When you watch CNN or MSNBC, you generally see an account of a trial that never took place. They spin the event so much that reality is totally distorted. I experienced that distortion firsthand yesterday when I saw CNN legal analyst Norm Eisen during a break, went over to him and asked about his family. We chatted for a few moments. Then that night he went on TV to claim that the judge is fair-minded and well-balanced. There's absolutely no good reason why this trial of this importance should not be televised for real people to see. Allowing the public to see their courts in action is the best guarantee of fairness. So anyways, that's a little bit from Alan Dershowitz today about this, exactly what we were talking about. This judge is out of control, in cahoots with the prosecution, doing anything he can to not only get as far away from Michael Cohen as possible with these delays, trying to let the jury probably try to forget about what they heard. I still don't think the jury knows what the secondary law that was supposedly broken even is to make this a felony. I would bet his charging to the jury, once we get to that point, is going to be poisonous and reprehensible, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff that I've been reading about this is now they're claiming they don't need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the most amazing stuff. I wish I would have. It was so wonky. I was like, nobody's going to want to hear me read about this. But they're basically saying, you know what? For this prosecution, we're going to get into the mind of Donald Trump. And yeah, he may not have committed that crime, but he was probably thinking about it. And if that's the case, if you think he was probably thinking about it, you can say he's guilty of it.
Well,
you.
I mean, if that's the case, we don't have a country.
Yeah, it's amazing. Right. I was stunned just reading it, and it was more than one article I read about this. I'm like, what is this? Is not even real. This is what happens in banana republics. You know, people make the joke, it's a banana republic. This is truly what they see in these other countries that we've only heard about, we've only joked about. This is what happens. It's insane, and if they can do it to him, they're going to do it to everyone, because this is the way these people are. They all they want is power. Any means necessary. The ends justify the means in their heads. They're psychotic. They're tyrants. They're Marxists. This is what they believe. They believe that they know better than you. You should listen to them. Don't worry about that. I'll tell you what the law is, and you'll rule how I tell you to rule, and you'll believe what we tell you to believe, because that's the way they think, and it's psychotic. It's mind-numbing, which I think is why you see people like Bill Maher starting to sound more reasonable, because I think even he's like, okay, can we stop now because it's getting crazy? But they don't want to stop. They've already got their taste, and once they have a taste, they're like a vampire. They just keep sucking and sucking and sucking, and they won't stop until they get to the next one.
I mean, I think it's reasonable to assume that you've got at least half the jury, if not more, that no matter what they heard or saw, are going to be in lockstep with Bragg and with the judge. I just believe that in New York City. I don't think it's possible this jury could have less than that. 6, 8 people who, no matter what they heard, objectivity there is none.
Right.
It's going to be, let's get them. All 12? I don't know. There has to be 1 or 2, or if not 3.
It only takes 1.
I understand that, but there has to be more than 1.
Right.
I would think.
That will sit there and go, you know what? I thought this going in.
Yeah, they're going to go, no.
This is this is the stuff I see on TV, and this is what they tell us about. We're actually seeing it.
All right, hour 2, we'll get into the big story of the day, sports and news, all coming up. Live from Studio 6B.
Hello. Worked on his foul shot.
Hey, you like some Alan Jackson there, Damon?
Alan Jackson?
Yeah.
Love Alan Jackson.
All right. He was another one of the guys I Chattahoochee, man. Way down.
That's a little...
Little what? Old?
Well, no, it's just a little bit. That's a little mainstream country hit. Like, how about like some of the other stuff he did?
That's like Beyonce.
You know what I liked too, believe it or not? I enjoyed that Tim McGraw song, Don't Take the Girl. That one made me cry.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Old Tim McGraw?
Old Tim McGraw.
Okay. Clint Black?
Clint Black, of course.
Okay. John Anderson?
John Anderson, yeah.
Okay.
Garth Brooks.
How about Joe Nichols?
Joe Nichols, don't know the name.
Joe Nichols. Okay. Couldn't get 2 nickels together, rub it down.
How about,
watch that guy.
Who else did you listen to?
Clint Black.
How
about Clint Black? Yeah, Clint Black.
How about Joe Diffie?
Joe Diffie, yep. Brooks and Dunn.
How about Dalbert?
John Michael
Montgomery?
I swear.
I swear.
By the look in the stars in your eyes, yes. Okay.
And of course, Shania.
Shania Twig. Yeah.
She was so freaking hot.
She's a twig.
Though you know who was really good too? She used to work for Garth Brooks.
Work for Garth Brooks?
Yeah, sell T-shirts for Garth Brooks. I forget that. She was huge. She got huge.
Well, he's married to Trisha Yearwood, one of the great female vocalists ever.
No.
In my opinion.
It's I got to look her up now. Hey, what's her name? She had a lot of hits. As soon as I said her name, you'd
a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I know who she is. I just didn't know she sold T-shirts for Garth Brooks.
That was part of her backstory.
Martina McBride?
Carrie Underwood?
Is it Martina McBride?
Carrie
I think it was
Underwear?
Martina McBride, yeah. I think she sold T-shirts. She talked about selling T-shirts at Garth Brooks shows.
Really?
Back.
All right, 9 o'clock. Hour 2, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Slick Rick's going to do some more sports. Rick Delgado's got the news. Glad you're in. Lots to talk about in hour 2. Let's just get right into it. A story that has been... I can remember the day that this happened, and I thought to myself, man, this is a day you just never will forget, never thought you'd see. Questions what kind of country we're living in. And today is another one of those days. You see this headline, it sends goosebumps down your arm when you start to put it all together and think back to your reporting of that day. Think back to the things you said when this happened. Talked about this show of force. Why did they show up like this? Why were there so many, as people described the scene? And of course, I'm talking about the raid on the former president's residence at Mar-a-Lago. And I can remember talking about it that day on the show. And I can remember going through all, and in the subsequent weeks after that, all the things we talked about and questioned. And then the Merrick Garland press conference and the questioning of the White House being involved and Joe Biden and how them trying to put this wall between Garland and him that they had no idea what was going on. And Julie Kelly today, and I know some of you, if you've been home and watching, have been pounded with this probably, and so I apologize for redoing it, but if you somehow have not heard, Julie Kelly on her declassified Substack today, FBI authorized use of deadly force during the Mar-a-Lago raid. Newly unsealed documents in special counsel Jack Smith's espionage case against Donald Trump demonstrate the FBI's plans to use deadly force even if the former president arrived at the scene. Say what?
Yeah.
Say what? An exhibit filed today by Donald Trump in a motion to suppress evidence seized during the FBI's August 2022 raid of Mar-a-Lago revealed shocking new details about the FBI's plans to use deadly force and even engage the former president and his security detail that day if necessary. Now, I'm just going to stop there. We talked about on that day, what was going on here? This show of force that they showed up with these armored vehicles, hundreds of officers, what was going on? Going through her closet. How many times did we say, boy, it seems like they were there on more of like a fishing expedition. They were going in with a premise of one thing, but man, they were looking for all kinds of other stuff. They were taking their shot. I can remember saying those exact words on this show. That actually has different meaning today. Because it sounded like what they were really going to do there is take their shot now. After reading this.
Yeah. Just a scary situation when you think about what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the former president of the United States with Secret Service protection at his home. and they were ready to engage the Secret Service in a firefight.
It sounds to me like they were, and I mean, I'll get into more of what this says, but just first takeaway, they were going in and trying, sounds to me like they were trying to go in and stir up a response.
Right.
That would give them a green light if they had to go in and do exactly what Merrick Garland authorized them to do, which was to use deadly force. I don't know another way to look at it.
Yeah.
When you put the pieces of the puzzle together now, looking back then going, what the hell they show up with all these guys? What are we doing? Well, now I think we know what they were trying to do. Possibly.
It wasn't intimidation. It was confrontation. They wanted the confrontation. And when you consider the Secret Service's, the people that work for the Secret Service, their job one is to protect their protectee. That means taking a bullet, which means they were more than happy to engage. The FBI seemed more than happy to engage with that. And that should be a scary thought for not only us as citizens, but people in the Secret Service. Like, hey, you got factions of the government willing to take you out to get to your protectee. This is the kind of crap you only see in movies. You only think this is the craziest thing. It could never be happening in real life. It's happened in real life. And now we're starting to see, as these tons of unsealed filings, classified documents case that Julie Kelly's putting out, is just insane that they even had an FBI had a medic on scene and identified a local trauma center for anyone injured during the raid. They were anticipating injuries.
They were going in there jacked up.
Yeah, they were going to take their shot.
And we said, remember us saying that?
Yeah.
Well, of course we didn't mean it like this. The raid involved 25 Miami FBI agents, 4 Washington FBI agents, 1 unidentified individual from FBI headquarters. Do you think this will be enough for the former president to maybe think, maybe not what I said about the FBI's new building, maybe not?
Yeah.
1 DOJ attorney and the assistant U.S. attorney from the Southern District of Florida. But according to the operations order, law enforcement was not preparing a routine search for presidential papers. By the way, papers that they sent there themselves. You have to look at this whole thing now totally differently. They send the papers there to set the whole thing up, and then they go in there under these directions
to look for the stuff that they put there.
That they sent there.
Yeah.
One section of the plan described how agents should handle the potential for use of deadly force. FBI MMEM will engage with FBI 8 and FBI 19 will engage with USSS POCs per existing liaison relationship. FBI search team will knock on each guest room door to determine occupation status. FBI will request a map, list of rooms, skeleton key for all rooms from Mar-a-Lago staff. In addition to lockpicking equipment, FBI agents were armed with standard issue weapon, ammo, handcuffs, as well as medium and large size bolt cutters. Perhaps most shockingly, again, this is from Julie Kelly's Substack today, the FBI team included a medic to tend to anyone, quote unquote, injured during the raid. The operations order identified a nearby trauma center with directions on how to get there. Additional exhibits in the unsealed motion today also indicate agents ransacked the bedrooms of Melania and Barron Trump. The head of the Washington FBI field office at the time was Stephen D'Antonio. In addition to spearheading the criminal investigation into the events of January 6th, which included his inability to identify and charge the so-called pipe bomber, D'Antonio led the Detroit FBI field office in 2020 when the FBI manufactured the entrapment scheme to make it appear that Trump supporters plotted to kidnap and kill Gretchen Whitmer. D'Antonio retired in November 2022. Attorney General Merrick Garland approved the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago.
Just to get documents, they're willing to kill people. Kill people. The FBI. willing to kill innocent people to get documents that they themselves sent there. You can't make this up. You can't make it up. It just, I have a hard time saying it, but it didn't come out of my mouth, man. When Tucker said, ask President Trump if he was afraid of being assassinated.
How about Chuck Schumer saying to Rachel Maddow that they got 6 ways of Sunday to get back at you?
This is insanity. And
this is a president who, by every single account, was cooperating for the longest period of time with this whole thing, with the documents, putting locks on doors that were requested, giving back whatever to the being in touch with the National Archives, cooperating, not being, not giving them the middle finger and saying, I'll do what I want to do.
Right.
Cooperating through all of the requests. And this is how they sign off on what was already, before we knew this, an unprecedented event. Even going into a former president's home. A former president who has turned documents over, who has, like I said, put locks on doors, changed his house, whatever he did, whatever he had to do to request to fulfill the request they had.
Yeah. Now, let me bring something up. And this is going to be a theory.
Oh boy.
But this is a theory I've heard from other people, and I wonder now looking at this, now that what we know, what we've seen exposed by Julie Kelly here, was this one of the assassination plots that that the Trump team had been warned about?
Biden signed off on, apparently.
That the Trump team had been warned about from factions inside the government. I've read some stuff about this and heard some people talk about this, where there has been some chatter. Was this a quote-unquote op to make it look like, well, it happened in the process of trying to do a search, there was resistance, a way to make it palatable for people to say, people get hurt, and unfortunately,
is there any other justification for having to put that the agents are authorized to use deadly force? What possibly would you need to put that in this situation for?
Yeah.
Who there are they expecting that they would have to put that in for? Walt Nauta? Barron Trump? Melania Trump? The wait staff at Mar-a-Lago? Who was it that they sat around and said, boy, we're walking... What do they think they're walking into?
Yeah. And the fact that they're like, oh, you need to, we'll engage with our USSS POC per existing liaison relationship. You would think you might want to do that before you arrive. Kind of say, hey, we've got the go-ahead to come here and search out some documents. We want to do the proper thing. Give you guys the heads up so we can coordinate, make sure everything goes smoothly. No. You would think that's what they would do.
Never. Did they give the same order when they went to Delaware to go into the garage to get the Corvette stuff? Did they give the same directions there to the officers who went in, whoever went in there?
Doubtful. Did
they give the same directions then? Doubtful is correct.
Yeah.
It's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Ever.
Shoot the lights out of things.
I mean, there's a scenario to me where the Pacers should be, if not favored, They should not be that big an underdog in this series. They have everything they need to match up with this team.
Boston has the home court, which is always the angle in the NBA. But other than that, Pacers are good. And they played a hell of a Game 7 in the Garden, too, last Sunday, I should say, 2 days ago. But they're tied at 64 at the half.
I mean, again, to just continue with this story, if you're the government and you're the attorney general, and you know all the involvement that everybody's had with this leading up to this day, that you decide, okay, well, first of all, the premise of why they go there is not because there's been hostile back and forth. It's because they don't think they've gotten everything that they want. Wasn't that the whole thing? He didn't turn everything over. Right. If he had just turned everything back like every other president did, then we wouldn't have had a problem. Isn't that what we've heard?
That's what we heard.
So at what stage in this, if you don't want to sound like the left is going to say tonight that all of us are all wackadoos saying that they called for the assassination of the former president, if you don't want to go there, how do you justify that order? How do you justify that order in this situation and show up with that show of force if you are not looking to go in and cause a reaction that you could then react to?
According to the FBI's website, it looks like special agents can use deadly force whenever they deem it necessary.
Okay, then that would ask the question, why did he have to put it in the charging order?
In their FAQ, FBI special agents may use deadly force only when necessary, when the agent has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the agent or another person.
So who did they think that was going in there? Barron Trump? Dangerous. Melania Trump?
And this is the kicker on this one. If feasible, a verbal warning to submit to the authority of the special agent is given prior to the use of deadly force.
Oh, prior.
So if they have a chance to tell you to stop before they shoot you, they will.
I mean, there's just no logical explanation for this order in this situation.
Crazy.
Other than to think that they were... I mean... It's hard to even say.
You know what else is hard to say?
That I read. I mean, you think they were going into the... Blues. I mean, if they thought they were going into like a Taliban hangout, it'd be one thing. All right, we'll get back to that. What am I reading here, Fran?
AMAC and My Patriots Play.
Right.
AMAC and who? Well, let me talk to you about AMAC here as we draw near to another critical election. It's not only about casting your vote, it's about elevating, easy for me to say, elevating your voice. AMAC is more than just a senior discount organization. They unite like-minded patriots. God, I sound like Biden here. Committed to preserving our cherished values and actively opposing the leftist agenda. Just look at their recent victories. AMAC members helped to push forward an investigation into practices that inflate drug prices. They successfully defeated ranked choice voting in order to protect traditional voting methods, and they also helped block a federal takeover of elections. As AMAC's membership grows, Washington listens. Every new member strengthens the AMAC movement. If you love America, visit amac.us/Studio6B to become a 4-year member of AMAC for just $30. amac.us/Studio6B to become a 4-year member of AMAC for just $30. AMAC is not only better for America, it's better for you. Membership gives you access to the AMAC magazine, free Social Security and Medicare guidance, money-saving discounts, trusted news, sweepstakes, and more. Take advantage of their election year sale now, 4 years for just $30. By joining over 2 million other members, they can't ignore your voice. Join now, amac.us/Studio6B, amac.us/Studio6B. Well, another day, another breaking news story buried. They'd rather talk about anything else than what's really going on. It's not because they don't know what's happening. The media pundits and talking heads just don't want you paying attention. The real stories, well, you have to look beyond the headlines if you want to find those. You know the truth is being covered up. Prepare for what will come now with our friends at My Patriot Supply. Since 2008, My Patriot Supply has helped millions of Americans get ready for the worst. Today, their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits are flying off the shelves. Get yours right now at MyPatriotSupply.com, MyPatriotSupply.com. This food offers over 2,000 calories every day, plus with ultra-durable 4-layer packaging, it can last up to 25 years in storage. Order all the kits you need for $200 off of each. $200 off each kit. And, of course, you get free shipping included. You've been warned about what can happen. Don't live in fear. Don't get caught, being unprepared. Take control of your future because it isn't just about food. It's about freedom. Stock up today. MyPatriotSupply.com, MyPatriotSupply.com. Prepare with Rav. Actually, that's the website, isn't it, Fran? PrepareWithRav.com. Yeah, they wrote it wrong in the script here. PrepareWithRav.com. Go there. PrepareWithRav.com. PrepareWithRav.com. All right, 20 minutes past the hour. It didn't sound right to me when I was reading it. It's PrepareWithRav.com.
I've got both in the email, so who knows?
Huh?
I have both in my email. So
no, I don't. Mine's wrong. So PrepareWithRav.com. That's where you want to go to get the $200 off each kit and the free shipping. So check them out. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. LFS6B is the code. I'm sure of that. LFS6B is the code to use. Slick Rick, what's going on?
Big D, I'll tell you who looks prepared. The Indiana Pacers are prepared for Game 1 in the TD Garden. It is all tied up at 64 at the half. So Pacers looking good. Again, Game 1, NBA Eastern Conference Finals. This is to see who goes to the championship game. So the championship series, I should say. So
finals, yeah.
Come on, Big D, let's go. So we got the Celtics right now tied with the Pacers at 64. Right now we have Miles Turner with 18 points, the center for Indianapolis, who is leading all scorers. And we Rangers and Panthers, that's tomorrow night. We'll get the NHL back in swing. No other games going on in the playoffs. And then we have, of course, Major League Baseball. The Brewers right now leading the Marlins 7-5, bottom of the ninth. Bottom of the ninth as well. Giants over the Pirates 6-2. Mariners blanking the Yankees 4-0, bottom of seventh in the Bronx. The White Sox 5-0 over the Blue Jays, middle of the ninth. Braves lead the Cubs 3-2, top of the fifth. Bottom sixth, Royals over the Tigers 9-3. Orioles and Cardinals tied at 1 in a rain delay right now. Angels over the Astros 4-2, mid fourth. Guardians lead the Mets 7-6 in Cleveland. Actually, that's a final that just went final earlier. And the Reds beat the Padres. Oh my God, the Reds won 2-0. So good for the Reds. Phillies 5-2 over the Rangers. Hey, take them when you can get them, right, Rick? Twins blanked the Nationals 10-0, and the Red Sox over the Rays 5-2. One more game on the docket. The Rockies actually visit the Athletics in Oakland, and that's a 9:40 first pitch. Well, let's see. Here we go. A little divorce news. Rory McIlroy was a hard person to be married to. Wife reached breaking point for divorce. This is a report. This is the McIlroys filed for divorce last week. Ryan Mulrick of Fox News Sports. Rory McIlroy and his wife, Erica Stoll, filed for divorce last week after 7 years of marriage. Reasons for the divorce were not immediately known, but according to a report, it seems like it had been brewing for some time. Us Weekly said Stoll was lonely in their marriage, and their four-time major champion was a hard person to be married to due to his playing career. The two were living very different lives the last 2 years, with him being on the road, and eventually she had a breaking point, according to the outlet. She knew that what she was getting into with his profession, but once they had their daughter, Poppy, things really changed, and she had a new perspective. Erica was usually absent for most of the tournaments and was really focused on Poppy, Us Weekly said. McIlroy's camp released a statement shortly after the filing saying it stressed Rory's desire to ensure this difficult time is as respectful and amicable as possible. Rory and Erica started dating in 2015 after the PGA Tour star and tennis star Caroline Wozniacki broke off their engagement in May of 2024. Rory and Erica became engaged later in 2015 and married in April 2017. They share one child together. Erica McIlroy was a former PGA of America employee. She was seen by his side stateside at several tournaments, including last year's Riders Cup. McIlroy finished tied for 12th at last week's PGA Championship at Valhalla, because as we know, Xander Schauffele took that as well. So we'll see where his career goes, Big D. I know you're not a big fan of him, but you always hate to see a divorce where there's a child involved, and we'll see how that goes, but wanted to get that little report out there as well. And just, we'll get to one other quick story. West Virginia trans athlete defeated girls in track events over 700 times, according to court doc claims. This is Dylan Gwynn of Breitbart. A court document that is part of the lawsuit against the Biden administration for its expansion of Title IX claims that a transgender middle school athlete in West Virginia knocked female athletes out of competition over 700 times. It's pathetic. The document's claim represents a vital component of the suit, which seeks to improve that the changes to Title IX put in place by Education Secretary Miguel Cardona, another winner, do in fact impact girls and women's sports. In April, Cardona expanded Title IX to say that sex discrimination includes discrimination based on gender identity as well as sexual orientation. However, the administration has steadfastly maintained that the rule changes will not impact women's sports. You know, the geniuses. Buoyed by the event out of West Virginia, the Alliance for Defending Freedom, ADF, a nonprofit civil rights firm, seeks to stop the implementation of Biden's Title IX rule changes set to take effect on August 1st and to allow state laws that ban transgender athletes from playing on girls' sports teams to remain in law in those states. Goes on to detail more, Big D, but I'm going to throw it back to you. But yeah, 700 times. I mean, that's a lot of disappointment for young ladies who do not by any means deserve to be running against a male athlete. Pathetic.
All right, Slick Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. MyPillow, LFS6B is the code to use at checkout. We're going to continue with this Mar-a-Lago story because it's really quite unbelievable. We'll get into some of your comments. We'll get into what Dan Bongino thinks. Our guy Shipwreck Crew, two guys who know about this stuff a lot better than we do. We'll get into their thoughts when we get back right after this, plus news. He's going to be great.
Really?
I think he'll be great.
Where?
That's why I like
Anywhere. I think he'll be great. He understands basketball way too well. Have you watched any of the? Have you watched him his podcast?
No.
LeBron. Okay, so I mean,
yeah.
So he can talk.
He can't. He can't.
Right.
It's more than just. It's more than just talking. He understands. He understands the game. He understands where guys should be to be able to score the basketball. In this league, you got to score points. Like this guy, I think he'll be great. Just another bet you two losers are going to lose to me. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Who knows?
Man, that's basic stuff, man. Good stuff.
What are we going to bet on this now?
This series.
Let's bet on his winning percentage his first year as a coach. Well, let's first of all agree. You guys think he'll get hired?
I don't think he'll get.
Okay,
I think he will.
I think he'll get hired this year. After the finals is over.
There's some sap that'll take him.
Yeah, someone will make that mistake, and then they'll be like,
Maybe the Nets.
How about the Lakers?
That could. The Lakers are looking for a new coach.
Terrible. Really?
I think it'd be great.
You're going to put LeBron's ego? I'm going to listen to this guy who averages 15 points a game? No thanks.
Yeah, no, I think he will.
All ego with these guys.
Is he going to bring Bronny in?
Plus, he's going to have an old team. He's going to be like, oh, guys, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Oh, wow. Such French you use in this show.
Wow, jeez. Good thing.
Wait, Mother's Day just passed. You didn't kiss your mother with that mouth.
Really? Good thing we're in the social media.
God,
program.
Delgado. Good Lord in heaven.
Just another bet you're
What
going to
the
lose
hell
to
is
me.
going on?
That's okay.
Of many this year.
Well, Delgado's a very angry basketball fan. You know, he's got roots for the Knicks. That pathetic sack
he
of
is
crap.
he's very angry. What's he going to be after the Rangers lose? Oh, my God.
Well, Rangers are going to win it. I hate to say it.
You're
I hate to say it. The Rangers are. Look at this. Oh, my
This
God.
guy.
From Chinatown.
That shot is amazing.
He's
It's
kidding.
just such a rainbow. Every time he lets it go, I think that has no chance to go in.
That kid looks like he looks like he's on the Wizard of Oz every time he shoots, man.
Look at Al Horford, boy. He could never do that.
That piece of crap. Yeah, you know what? If I had a car, I shouldn't say what I'm going to do.
He'd
I'd
never
run that
do
son of a bitch right off the freaking road.
He'd never do that in Philly.
What
that
he
guy.
did to Philly, that guy couldn't hit the side of a barn with a steamroller from 3 feet out. That piece of shit. Now, don't even get me going. Now I'm going to start getting nasty.
Well, then you're not
I hate that son of a beeswax.
with the language.
I can't stand that guy,
You're not
Al
gonna- you're gonna
Horford.
like this even
That
worse.
piece of crap.
Tobias Harris.
Look at
Tobias Harris, tuberculosis Harris. He's panhandling in Madison Square Garden right now.
Look at Al Horford knock down these shots.
God
Unbelievable.
bless.
Look at him run the floor, too, like right there. Look at that.
Look at Tatum. He never saw a layup he didn't like.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B. And these two over here fired up in the commercial
Yeah,
break.
don't watch us in the breaks.
We're talking about basketball.
Yeah. Delgado
arguing.
Delgado speaking French.
David's picking the worst guy to coach a team.
I'm telling you,
he's got too much of an ego. Too much of an ego.
Who, Damon or the guy he picked?
Both of them.
Good question. JJ Redick will get hired this offseason as a coach if he wants to be one, which I think he will. I think he does.
And I think he'd be a terrible.
He reminds me a
And
little of you,
I think he's
Delgado.
going to be great.
He reminds me a little of you.
I think he'll be great.
Yeah.
So Delgado's first bet with me of many that he's going to lose this year
Yeah.
is that JJ Redick will actually get hired as a coach. I say yes. He says no. And then our second bet.
No. I think he might get hired, especially by the Lakers. But that would be a mistake. I think he might make it through the season, or they might just say, you know what, we can't. There's too much conflict. This guy's got there's an ego. He got LeBron James, who's not going to listen to anybody, and Anthony Davis, who's right there with him. Hey, this is our team. We're not going to listen to you because you scored 15 points a game.
I got JJ Redick.
These guys are Hall of Famers.
Hey,
They
JJ
don't listen to
Redick.
this guy.
Too much
as
heat
Michelle
coming from his weed
Obama's
whacker
running
today,
mate.
I think.
JJ Redick, Michelle Obama's running mate. What do you think about that?
Could
theory?
be.
Yeah,
He'd have a better shot at that.
Yeah.
Too much heat from his weed whacker got in his face today, I think. So, all right, let's go to Dan Bond. So let's get serious here for a second. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this just as a regular person who looks at the facts and tries to figure out what, again, leading up to this, if you're not sending in a hit squad, as Robert Cox says on Twitter, Garland sent an effing hit squad is what he did. If you don't want to believe that, what other justification is there for this order? And I'll also say this, given what Fran just read, it almost sounds like there's no need for this order.
Right.
If an agent can use deadly force at their own discretion upon a set of rules here, whatever it is, what's the need of this order to remind them to have to authorize this? So Dan Bongino says this is an absolutely big deal. Don't buy the BS otherwise. This is not a standard op. The Mar-a-Lago raid was an unprecedented action with significant potential for confusion and now blue-on-blue issues and conflict. It also involved competing equities between federal agencies, FBI and U.S. Secret Service, with equal statutory claims to interrupt the other's activities. Anyone telling you otherwise is either dumb or playing dumb. I've done more decon with Russians in a foreign op I did for the U.S. Secret Service than the FBI did in their search warrant at Mar-a-Lago. Only a dumbass would pitch it's the standard paperwork line. Go serve a search warrant at the White House in the cocaine case while filling out your standard paperwork and see how that works out for you. Wake up. And our guy Shipwreck Crew over at Red State says you can't simply ignore the fact that Trump wasn't there and the FBI knew that Trump wasn't going to be there. So the idea there would be a conflict with Secret Service over the execution of a valid warrant, which U.S. Secret Service was bound to obey as much as the FBI, is really a hypo without a factual basis. So he's kind of taking issue, I think, with what Bongino said. This is not the same question as to whether the judge should have signed the warrant. Law enforcement only asks for warrants. They don't command them. The judge could have read it and handed it back saying, yeah, I don't think so. Make a phone call and work this out some other way. DOJ didn't have to ask for a warrant. They could have continued, filed a motion to compel further GJ production. I did both as a U.S. attorney and have been on the receiving end as a defense attorney. So seeking the SW is a discretionary call that Biden DOJ should be made to answer for in any oversight hearings. But the Kong is only interested in generating sound bites that help them at election time, not really doing anything substantive to adjust the course of executive branch action. That, of course, would be Congress he's talking about. And again, I mean, you know, these guys can get into all the minutia of it, but just as a regular person looking at it and thinking about this, in the lead up to this is you're dealing with all of the people at Mar-a-Lago. You're dealing with the president, his team. Who there do you think you need to? You're not going into Osama bin Laden's compound in the middle of the night,
right?
Who there do you think? Well, we got to make sure we authorize deadly force if needed. It just makes no sense, right?
Yeah, it makes no sense. It's called insanity. I just don't have any other way to describe it. It's just called insanity. Like, how do you go into, hey, we're going to go we're investigating a former president, and we're going to go to his house. We should load up, make sure that we alert the hospitals in the area. Let's get a medic team ready. Let's make sure that we have all our ops. We have bolt cutters. We have all stuff that you would never need for a luxurious Mar-a-Lago golf club compound of a former president, which is protected by Secret Service, among other security. You make a phone call and be like, hey, we need to come and get these documents now. We're being ordered to. All right. We'll meet you at the back. We'll set it up. We'll have everything. They'll roll out the red carpet. Let's make this as easy as possible. Get these guys in and out. That's the way they've been doing it, right? They've been talking to the National Archives people, going back and forth. Hey, they invite them down. Come take a look. Hey, you should put a lock over there. Okay, we'll install a new lock. No problem. What else you got for us? No, that's it for now. We'll be in touch. Next thing you know, they're in touch with the full force of the FBI, wanting to make I guess they're... Were they filming a movie? Were they filming a training video? They needed to call out calling all cars kind of moment so they could have this piece in their archives and be like, look what we did. We executed this search on Mar-a-Lago, and then the Secret Service tried to push back, and we pushed back on them, and oh, man, it went down. This is... What are we talking about here? This is insanity. Just crazy. There's supposed to be some decorum between these agencies that are working for the same end goal, right? You know, FBI, law enforcement, Secret Service, protection, law enforcement. They're kind of both on the same team. Last I checked. This is what tyranny looks like. If you don't think we live in a police state, have a good look, because this is it.
I saw the president's truth about this after he left the courtroom, and. I mean, what he must be feeling tonight. I mean, not to get into not to speculate on what he's feeling, but to just think about. Sure, this doesn't surprise him, quite frankly, honestly, if I had to think about it. But to think about this, these scum. And don't tell me Joe Biden didn't have some hand in this. Because it wouldn't, not that he understands or knows what the hell's going on, but somebody there, I'll bet, had direct, if not gave the direct order, had a real hand in this going into had a real hand with Merrick Garland in this going into that order. It's hard for me to believe that the White House and Joe Biden directly didn't either have some say in this or know about it.
And you know what? It might rhyme with Gallery Harriet, or it might rhyme with Barack Osama. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know why we rhyming. Valerie Jarrett and Barack Obama. What?
It could. Maybe those names you're looking for sound like that. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe Joe doesn't really know what's going on. He just goes, yeah, whatever you got to do, we're going to win. Because let's face it, his faculties aren't really up to snuff. They haven't been for a while. And we know somebody else is really making the calls. It's a team of people, probably run by you-know-who. So how do we know that, let's face it, he was the one remember, Obama was in charge. He was president in 2016 when the FBI and the CIA started spying on Donald Trump. We know this. They talked about it. No matter how much James Comey wants to try to flip this around like, we were just doing our due diligence. No. They knew about it. They initiated this. They took every chance they could. Thank goodness for Devin Nunes for pointing it out and bringing it to the president's attention, the candidate at the time. And it's just insane where we've gone because they don't want to lose power. It's all about power. It's not even about money. It's about power. Power gives them the money. They don't need that. They need the power because the power gives them the control.
See, I'm doing this. Here's what I wanted to do. And while you were talking, I wanted to do a search for for the people on the other side trying to explain this away. Because I don't know how you explain it away. There's no explanation for this making any sense. And I literally just pulled up somebody, I don't even know who this is on the left. What Trump is claiming is a distortion of what was revealed in the docs, which shows it's a reflection of the standard FBI policy when conducting such a search. Well, if it's standard policy, why does it have to be put into this? Clearly, it was put there for a reason. Department of Justice officials will use deadly force if necessary. It's written right there in the 4 lines. No indication that this is the departure from that standard posture anytime the FBI is conducting law enforcement activity. So this is what the left's going to try to say.
And what are they going to say about the courtesy that one agency should be giving another agency? Hey, we're going to come into your backyard. We just want to give you a heads up. This is what we're doing. Here's the paperwork. Here's what we need. Here's what we're looking for. Can we help expedite this? They already have liaisons in place for this. So why didn't they do that?
Going in to look for documents.
Yeah. Paper that they sent there. That's the part. That's the newest part that gets me the most. When you said that before, it reminded me of we found out a couple weeks ago that the papers that they were looking for sat with the National Archives for about 6 months in Virginia, and then they sent them down to Mar-a-Lago, and then they said they needed them back. So.
All right, let's do. We spent a lot of time on this. Let's do a little other news. What else is going on?
All right. Well, there's still time, Damon, believe it or not, to get on the Trump train. How can Biden save America from Trump's return to the White House? According to this article, drop out of the race. You can come on board. Republicans are stuck with former President Trump, according to this article. Unless he, of course, is not their nominee, he may have to win to stay out of jail. But there's a way for President Joe Biden, they say, to step aside, to voluntarily remove himself for the good of the nation and the party, the writer writes. Biden could announce any time this summer that he's out. He could use the same logic that got him the nomination in 2020. He sincerely and accurately believed that he was the Democrat with the best chance to beat Trump. Now he's one of the few national Democrats who could get Trump reelected. Recent polling of Biden against Trump looks ugly. Biden has been showing low support among young, black, Hispanic voters, crucial votes in swing states. Biden is seen as too old to serve a second term by many voters. And that's something, when you were talking about Bill Maher being on Gutfeld last night, one of the things he said that he pointed out, which I thought was a great thing to point out, was Biden presents old. He might be in the same, within a few years of Trump, but you don't look at President Trump the way you look at President Biden. Biden looks like a fossil. He looks old. He looks decrepit. Trump looks like a guy who still has everything going, and he's out there every day talking, and, he doesn't look like decrepit.
All right, we'll do a little more sports news, wrap it up for a Tuesday night right after this. If you're in the chat, Rumble, X, YouTube, Facebook, Kick, stay with us.
Okay.
I missed a lot of comments during that whole. I'm sure people are in pretty much the same place. Let's see what the numbers look like here. 224 I got on YouTube. 1,012 on X. 302 on Facebook. Make sure you like, please, and share the show. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up.
400 in Rumble.
How many likes do we have on Facebook? Let's see. 133. And how many people did I say were watching? 300? That's not even half. Oof.
We got 10 people on Kick.
Is that a record?
No, our record's like 25.
Oh, wow.
We have 10-5 on Getter. Old Getter.
Karen on Facebook says fastest 2 hours on TV. You guys are on point with humor and style. Slick, I think you represent the style part.
Oh. Clyde the Glide. He's playing golf now too, right? Clyde Frazier. He ain't gonna be on the Knicks sideline no more.
Slick, you need to wear all white.
Yeah, I have an all white. I thought about it. I have an all white suit. I have it.
Okay,
I have
come on, let's
white
break it out
boots.
here.
You're gonna go to the Diddy White party.
Do you follow the calendar time of where you can wear white?
You know, I loosely. You know, I mean, like I was thinking about maybe rocking a white suit Thursday for an event that I have with the white boots. I'm like, well, you know, it's a couple of days before Memorial Day. Technically, it's Memorial Day before you can wear white, but who gives? I mean, come on, really? Most people don't even know. You get that one, you're supposed to wear white before Memorial Day and no white after Labor Day. That's a goofy thing, but I do kind of stick with it. Goofy as it is. I am careful.
Hello, Kathy on Facebook.
Kathy.
Doo-doo-doo.
Slow sports day. Come on.
Slick, do you dress up as Uncle Sam for the 4th of July?
I do not.
All right, live from Studio 6B, 13 till the hour on a Tuesday night. Delgado's going to do some news. We didn't do a ton of news. We were talking about this Mar-a-Lago.
Well, that's a lot of news.
I mean, again, I want to see somebody give me a reason that this was approached like this, so that we don't all have to be conspiracy theorists. That you were going in there looking for itchy trigger fingers. Ooh. I mean, what is the reasoning? Don't give me this. It's standard. Well, if it's standard, it doesn't need to be in the document then. Every agent knows it's standard and knows what the protocol is. You put it in there like, hey, let's make sure everybody's on the same page here. Like they're going into Bin Laden's bunker.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just crazy. Let's do some sports. Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the promo code to use at checkout. Slick, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, let's get an update on this NBA game right now. Playoffs, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals. Right now, the Celtics have taken control in the second half. 4:50 to go in the third at the TD Garden. 86-75. They lead the Indiana Pacers. I think the Celtics are going to be a tough out. They're probably your odds-on team to win the NBA championship this year. They do. I'm not sure anybody from the Western Conference is going to be able to step up and beat them, that being Minnesota or Dallas, which is going to be a great series as well.
Minnesota
probably a Game
smokes
7
them.
Burner.
Minnesota smokes them if they meet them.
Smokes Boston.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Really?
Smokes them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matchup is not good for the Celtics with Minnesota.
Well, I'll be saying attention Target shoppers when I go to the Target Center in downtown Minneapolis, which I'll be there actually next month. I'll actually be there probably when the finals are going on if Minnesota makes it. I won't be there for them. I'll be there for other reasons. But that being said, could be very interesting, Big D. But you like Minnesota smoking them, huh?
I do.
You think Minnesota walks right over Dallas? And your buddy?
No. Walks
the
over
Shark Tank
Dallas?
man?
No. Dallas is... No, the West is always...
The West is wild. I mean, it's going to be a damn good series.
You can't walk over Luka and
no, you
Kyrie.
Luka Doncic.
It's not possible.
No, Kyrie's going to have something to say
good
as well.
Series, but I would. By the way, I think if Dallas was to beat Minnesota somehow, and obviously we've seen that they can be beaten because they dropped 2. They looked like my AAU team in the 2 games after they beat Denver 2. They went home and looked like they never played basketball before.
But then
so clearly they can be beat.
Yeah.
But if Dallas was somehow to beat them, I think Dallas-Boston is a much closer series. Boston at least has a chance. Minnesota gets to the finals with Anthony Edwards and Cat. I think they roll Boston
I tell you,
if it's Boston.
Minnesota, like the New York Rangers in the NHL, to me look like teams of destiny for this year. I really believe, and this might be their year. And I'm very fine with Minnesota winning it all. Their fans could use a championship. I don't think the Minnesota basketball team last time they won was probably when they were the Minneapolis Lakers back in like the late 50s. It's been a long run. So just switching gears from that, we're going to go to UFC's Sean Strickland. Blast spineless NFL for not standing by Harrison Butker, designed to destroy America. Boy, this Harrison Butker story continues to grow legs, Big D. Warner Todd Houston and Breitbart Sports. UFC star Sean Strickland bashed the National Football League for refusing to support Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, who is under attack from the extreme left for his commencement speech touting traditional Christian ideals. The Chiefs player is under searing attack from the left for the commencement address he delivered on May 11th at Benedictine College. I said I'm not pronouncing that right, so I'm doing the best I can. Benedictine College, a private Kansas-based Catholic college. During the speech, Butker urged the male graduates in the audience to embrace their masculinity and asked the female grads not to ignore having a family. Many on the far left have lined up to take pot shots at the Super Bowl winner, but the NFL has refused to stand up for Butker's right to his opinion. Worse, one NFL official even came out to attack Butker, and the league said nothing to that attack, leaving it as the only league of official stance on Butker's Christian values. It appears that the response by the NFL official angered UFC fighter Sean Strickland. On Monday, Strickland jumped to his X account to call the NFL spineless cowards. When did the NFL become such spineless cowards? Man plus woman equals marriage, nothing else, he wrote. Check text history and tradition. It's that simple, he said, adding, it doesn't matter. Who cares who can get married, saying that makes you a weak man. They want you to say what? Have beliefs, he concluded. Strickland also followed with another post. There is not 1 ounce of me who hates gay people. If you're gay, be happy. I wish you the best, he wrote on Monday. But that doesn't mean I have to bend my knee on every social issue designed to destroy America and masculinity. He said, you can be against gay marriage, it's okay. Yeah, he went off a deep path. But anyway, Strickland refused to refer to the attack by NFL Senior VP and Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, wow, what a title, Jonathan Bean, who slammed Butker and said that the players' views are not those of the NFL as an organization. The NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger, being added. So anyway, typical NFL taking that position. But Butker, Big D, that really took on a life of its own. And the man really didn't say really anything out of line, in my opinion. You know, what did he talk about? He talked about women and traditional
out of
values.
line. I mean, it was a beautiful speech.
Exactly.
Nothing close to out of line.
You know, we live in a ridiculous world with the left, and you're Big D. You just can't say anything. That's it. Period. Keep your mouth shut. That's it. That's all you can do when you're on the right. And that's a joke. That's why we're here every night, to get the word out. That's a wrap, Big D. Back to you.
All right, Slickster, very good. Let's do a little more news with Rick Delgado. What else is going on that we can cover?
All right, last story of the night here. Remember, we told you last week about a gentleman who showed up at the Pelosi household a couple of years ago, David DePape, found guilty in November of attempted kidnapping of a federal official and assault of an immediate family member of a federal. Is that really is that written as a statute? Assault on the immediate member of a federal official? Is that listed as a crime or just assault? Anyhow, turns out the attacker of Nancy Pelosi's husband is going to have to be resentenced after the judge forgot to give him a chance to speak, something that they're supposed to do after every conviction before sentencing. The man convicted of attacking the former speaker's husband with a hammer will be resentenced after the judge forgot to give him a chance to speak at the hearing. He was found guilty again. DePape, 44. He was sentenced to 30 years behind bars on Friday. 30 years. And you can't even get 20 years for murder these days. Though prosecutors noted that he had not been granted the opportunity to speak.
In New York, you can't even get 20 hours.
Yeah. He had not been granted the opportunity to speak at the hearing, a clear error by the court. By federal rule, DePape must be allowed to speak if he wishes to, so that he may present any information to mitigate the sentence, according to court documents. At May 17th sentencing proceeding, no party brought to the court's attention that it had not done so, the documents read. Nonetheless, it was the court's responsibility to personally ask Mr. DePape if he wanted to speak. As the court did not do so, it committed a clear error. And the United States requests the court reopen the sentencing for the limited purpose of personally addressing the defendant to permit him to allocate, well, whatever it says.
Allocate, yeah.
It's not allocate. It's allocute.
Oh, allocute. Okay.
Yeah. Allocute. And then pronounce the sentence thereafter, issue the judgment in the case. Resentencing is due to take place within 14 days of the original hearing. So there you have it.
So do we think he's going to get 31 years now?
He might get 40 now if he opens his mouth. So you never know. We'll see what happens in that case. And really, one quick one. Julian Assange wins right to appeal against extradition to the U.S. This is a victory for Julian Assange. He's been granted leave to mount a fresh appeal against his extradition to the United States on charges of leaking military secrets, and will be able to challenge assurances from American officials on how the trial there would be conducted. Two judges had deferred a decision in March on whether Assange could be avoiding prosecution in the U.S. on those espionage charges. So we'll see what happens more with that. But for right now, that is a victory for Julian Assange.
As always, we salute our military, active and active, emergency personnel, all our truckers, all our farmers who keep the country moving. Thanks, everybody. Aaron, Fran, great job as always. Most of all, though, thank you. Live from Studio 6B audience. We will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Actually, I will not see you. I'll see you late. I've got college with my son. I'll see you late tomorrow night. Boys will be here at 8 o'clock, live from Studio 6B.
He's going back to school.
Hey, welcome back to school.